Hey guys, it's Matt. Why am I laughing? Because today we're going to talk about getting sued. But if you're well protected, if you've got your things in place to protect you against this kind of stuff, and if you do your homework ahead of time, it's really not that bad. But the bottom line is, if you are in this business for long enough, you will get sued. We've been in the business for 10 years, and it's at least a half dozen times we've been sued by folks for all kinds of stuff, from slip and falls on ice to ceiling fell and hit her in the head, like a piece of sheetrock fell off the ceiling and hit her in the head. All kinds of stuff that I can think of. A guy claims he tripped on carpet in his property, so keep the list going. There's all kinds of just wacky stuff that's happened. But if you put the right things in place, you can make it not a big deal. And it has been not a big deal for us every time that this has happened. So here's some things you can do to prevent or mitigate getting sued. And if, just what to do when it happens. So number one, this just goes without saying, but you need to have insurance. And not just insurance for fire insurance. Some people call it hazard insurance or whatever you want to call it on the property. But that's like if the property burns down to the ground, or if you have a claim against an act of God, or the property gets hit by lightning, or like I said, burns down to the ground. We've had when it was cold a couple months ago, we had a pipe burst in the basement and it froze and took out the hot water heater. That insurance took care of that kind of thing. But additionally, on top of that, you want to have liability insurance. Just basic that you want is $1 million per occurrence and $2 million aggregate, which means that the most that they'll cover is up to $2 million. So you need to have that insurance in place per address. And if you own more than a handful of properties, say more than 4 or 5 of them, you want to get something called an umbrella policy, which sits above all your properties and prevents you from getting sued on a couple of different addresses and getting above that aggregate. So talk to your insurance agent about more of that kind of stuff. And even if you're a property management company, if you're a flipper, if you have deals where you're in and out, or maybe you don't own any real estate at all, it's not going to cost you much at all to have just a general liability insurance policy. You can fall back on that if you get sued, if anything comes up, that people come after you for a liability claim. So first and foremost, get yourself a good insurance policy. And don't be too cheap on what deductible you can have. You can save a few dollars by increasing your deductible. Like a really low deductible is like $500, meaning if you have an incident, you kick out that $500 and then they cover everything above for a fire or something like that. We typically have a little more, but not too much more, because there's a lot of things that can sting you that cost less than a couple $1,000s, but they're unexpected and they cost a lot of money, and the insurance company will gladly cover them. So just don't get too greedy on your deductible. But that's lesson number one: have really good insurance that you can stand behind. Thing number two that you want to have out there is have some sort of an arrangement. Where we're in the Northeast in New Jersey, but anywhere in the Northeast, and also in the West as well, you have a lot of snow. That's just a lot, but just sometimes it gets cold. When it gets cold, you have ice. And people love to come after you for slip and falls, meaning that they were walking down the street and you're a little in front of your property, and they slipped and they happen to fall in front of your property. They want to hold you accountable for not shoveling your snow or not cleaning up that ice or whatever it may be. We typically shovel all of our snow and salt all of our ice when it's out there, but make sure that you're doing that. If you have your own crew like we do, then make sure you have it documented. We have a guy that does it for us, and he turns in a work order when he does the work. So I have a work order that's signed by him with a date that says, this is when I shoveled the snow at this address. If you're subcontracting it, make sure that subcontractor invoices you something with a date. We have one apartment complex in Philadelphia where it's done by a subcontractor, and we require that he takes a picture when he's done. I have a photo with a date stamp on it of when he shoveled that snow. So if anybody ever claimed, boy, I slipped and fell on your property, well, maybe you didn't, because here's a picture here of when I shoveled the snow, and maybe the insurance company will still deal with a liability claim on the slip and fall, but at least I can say it wasn't negligence on our part, meaning we did what we were supposed to do. The insurance company can defend us on that. So document things like snow, roof leaks, anything that could fall back on and become a tenant claim, or just a general person claim on a liability. document it somehow with dates, photos, that kind of stuff, just for your file so you can know that it got done and if it ever comes up again. The third thing is, if you're using subcontractors, any type of subcontractor, make sure that they have their own liability insurance and that you are named as additional insured. So the guy that shovels our snow at our apartment complex, we're named as additional insured on his insurance policy, meaning that if there was a claim against a slip and fall and it was a date that he shoveled the snow and he missed a spot or whatever it was and somebody slipped and fell on that spot that he missed, they would sue us probably because we got this building, but we would be able to defer that claim to him and fall into his insurance policy. So you want to just make sure these things are in place for you because eventually they come up. We've had nuisance claims too, like the guy that fell on carpet, that I mentioned in the beginning of this video. He claims he fell on carpet in his property. The guy broke his back. He didn't do it falling on carpet in our property. Probably did it on a job site, probably did it somewhere else. It was really clear it was not a claim against our property. But that's why insurance is there, because they will fight that battle. It's not something I have to deal with. So even if it's a nuisance claim, it's great to have these types of things in place. So again, if you are in this business long enough, you will get sued, but insurance is there. Having your subcontractors name you as additional insured in their policies is there for you too. So it's not something to be afraid of. It's something maybe you can laugh about, like as I did in the beginning of this video. So I hope this is informative. If you've got any lawsuit stories, please tell them below. We can commiserate together. Look forward to getting some good conversations going, guys, and I hope this is of value. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.